Everyone knows the Roman Empire fell. A teacher tells you it collapsed in the year 476. Barbarians at the gates. The last emperor pushed off his throne. The lights go out on the ancient world. But that is only half the story. Because when Rome fell in the west, the empire did not die. It simply moved east and kept calling itself Rome for another 1,000 years. Its capital was Constantinople, and the people who lived there did not think of themselves as Byzantines. That is a word historians invented later. They called themselves Romaioi, Romans. They believed completely that they were the same empire Augustus had built. For 1,000 years they were right. The Roman Empire, unbroken, ruled from a Christian city named after the emperor Constantine. And then came the spring of 1453. A young sultan named Mehmed II stood outside the city, with an army that dwarfed its defenders. He was 21 years old, and he had decided he would be the one to take the city that had resisted attackers for 1,000 years. Because Constantinople had a secret. Its walls. The Theodosian walls, 3 layers of stone, a moat, towers, had turned back army after army for 10 centuries. No one had ever broken through them. But Mehmed had something new: gunpowder. He hired an engineer to cast the largest cannon the world had ever seen. A bronze monster so big it took 60 oxen to drag it to the walls. For weeks, those cannons pounded the ancient stone. The walls that had stood for 1,000 years began, for the first time, to crack. Inside the city, the last Roman emperor prepared for the end. His name was Constantine XI. By a strange twist of history, the first emperor of the city, and the last, would share the same name, Constantine. On the night of May 28th, the defenders knew the final assault was coming. They held a service inside the great church, the Hagia Sophia, Romans and their allies praying together for the last time under the most famous dome in the world. At dawn on May 29th, 1453, the Ottomans poured through a breach. The fighting was desperate, and somewhere in the chaos, the last emperor of Rome threw off his royal insignia, drew his sword, and charged into the enemy as an ordinary soldier. He was never seen again. No one knows for certain where Constantine XI fell, and with him, the Roman Empire, the real, continuous Roman Empire, stretching back 1,500 years to the founding of the city of Rome. Finally, truly ended. Mehmed rode into the city. He walked into the Hagia Sophia and ordered that it become a mosque. The cross came down. The second Rome had fallen. But far to the north, a different story was just beginning, because Constantinople was not just a capital. It was the center of the Orthodox Christian world, the heart of a faith shared by millions. And when it fell to the Ottomans, that faith needed a new protector, a new center, a new Rome. There was only one great Orthodox power left standing, free and rising, the Grand Duchy of Moscow, and its ruler understood exactly what had just become available. His name was Ivan III, Ivan the Great. In 1472, Ivan made a marriage that would echo for centuries. He married Sophia Palaiologina, the niece of Constantine XI, the very last Roman emperor. With that marriage, Ivan was making a claim. The bloodline of the Roman emperors now flowed into Moscow, and he took their symbol as his own, the double-headed eagle of the Roman East, one head looking west, one looking east. He called himself by a new title. Not prince, not duke. He reached for the oldest word of power in the Western world, Caesar. In the Russian tongue, that word became Tsar. Caesar, Kaiser, Tsar. Across 1,000 years and 1,000 miles, it is the same word. The name of a Roman general, worn now by a ruler in the snow. And then, a monk gave the idea its name. Around the year 1510, a quiet monk named Philotheus, from the city of Pskov, wrote a letter to the ruler of Moscow. In it was a single, thunderous idea. He wrote, "The first Rome fell to heresy. The second Rome, Constantinople, fell to the Turks. But the third Rome, Moscow, stands, and a fourth Rome there shall never be. Moscow, the third Rome, the last Christian empire, the final guardian of the true faith, standing until the end of time." It was an idea more than a law, a claim, not a court ruling. No one handed Moscow a deed to the Roman Empire. But ideas like that one do not stay small. The Tsars built an empire on it. They saw themselves as the heirs of Rome and the protectors of all Orthodox Christians. a holy mission baked into the very identity of the Russian state. Moscow even became the new center of the Orthodox Church, with its own patriarch, the religious crown of the fallen empire settling onto a Russian head. And that idea never fully died. The double-headed eagle is on Russia's flagpoles today. The word Tsar still echoes in its history. The belief that Russia is something more than a country, that it is the heir to Rome, the third and final Rome, a civilization with a sacred destiny, has shaped how Russia sees itself and the world right up to the present day. So was Rome really gone in 476? Or in 1453? Or did the idea of Rome simply refuse to die? Jumping from city to city, from Rome to Constantinople to Moscow, wearing a new face each time but always whispering the same word. Caesar. Empires are made of stone and stone can fall. But an idea, the idea that you are Rome, that you carry something eternal, that can outlive any wall. The first Rome fell, the second Rome fell, and somewhere, even now, a third Rome still insists that it is standing. If you want more history that hides in plain sight, subscribe, and I'll show you the threads connecting the ancient world to the one outside your window.